Got a long night in the TMP reviewing cave. A lot of work ahead of me. Mostly gun reviews. But I'm going to start with a knife review. First things first though, we have about 5 of these Black Hawk ammo carriers. We purchased them a couple years ago. I reviewed it, highly recommended. This one is dedicated to AK ammo. Let's see what we got in here. I took the boxes out, just got some stray rounds in there. Always have dirt I'm dumping out constantly. And speaking of dirt, we're going to use this as a backdrop for a specific reason for this fixed blade survival knife review. You saw the title, because the knife is coming out of desert mountain testing and it is filthy. Say what's up to a Schrade survival knife. First I've ever reviewed actually from this brand. And this model it's the newest generation, I believe, SCHF52. I think it's called the Frontier. And get this, 46 bucks. 46 bucks. Maybe less, maybe more. It's always a snapshot in time. And we thumped on this thing out there. We abused it and it passed with flying colors. It's highly recommended for the money. Do you guys still use your large bladed survival knives? I wonder. I mean, I kicked off TMP with it years ago, right? And I reviewed so many good ones, I didn't really feel like I needed to add to the playlist, and that's why I don't do too many anymore, because the ones that I've reviewed from various makers are still being produced. Ontario would be a brand that comes to mind. They're very high value. They feature the same steel this one does, 1095, which in my book is a great survival steel. It's tough, holds an edge, yes it will rust. But whoop-de-doo, it's only 46 bucks. The stainless blade survival knives, as a reminder, and I've talked about this a lot in years past, in my experience it chips out. So while it's rust resistant, if you're using it hard, you go into the ground, hit some gravel, dirt, you're going to just have chips coming along the edge. Doesn't mean it's not serviceable, it just means it's more work getting those chips out. But kicking it off with value, dude. This model, the get it right, 5CHF52, whew, 46 bucks, amazing value. It's not a lightweight though. It's 1 pound 8 ounces with this sheath, also filthy from desert testing. Yeah. And you know, I'll talk about the sheath here in a second, but we're talking about SAWC now. It's firepower versus mobility, same thing I've always talked about, you know. This is a Spyderco Aqua Salt, in case you're wondering. Coming out of West Coast operations. Handle wrap for water traction, believe it or not. I may review that separately. I don't think I've reviewed it yet. Be a fun review. Got lots of Zodiac footage to roll into that one. Yeah, so, I mean, philosophy of use is minimizing work, and that 1 pound, what was it, 8 ounces? That's total carry weight. You know, makes chopping with, I would think this is kind of a more medium-sized survival knife. Let me see. Here we have the Tops Armageddon. It's 30 ounces. Still haven't reviewed this one yet. Maybe one day. Depends if you guys watch them. God, that's a sticky blade. That's a big survival knife right there. I mean, you can see what I mean. It's this mid-sized, huge. Mid-sized, huge. Huge, mid-sized. Huge, mid-sized. You guys got it? The R-Tac 2 would be another one, and I've rolled some others on the camera. The Cold Steel Kukri still is a fave for survival use. Love it. But again, these are heavier blades if you want to take the weight. But I still amazingly, love the large, maybe even medium survival knife, survival saw combination. I think that works for me. It always has. Just works for me. So philosophy of use would be a woods crafting blade, survival blade, sheltercraft, firecraft. This is a big, thick blade. It's not full flat grind. You can see that. Mid-spine. That means it's going to have a really strong spine, though. So dig with it. I think we did some stabbing tests with it in the dirt. Just testing it. You know, that's what we do. Worked well. So you know, I do prefer still FFG blades. But for the money, dude, this is excellent. And some of the weight, by the way, is coming from that full thickness spine. Right up in here. Now, let me show you this one. And this is a previous model. And this is the SCH, I hope I get these right, and I may have mixed up the boxes. I think this is the one, SCHF52, and it was the previous generation. I didn't really test this one, but I have it on loan just to show it to you. I like that handle a lot more. The G10 handle is so much better than this polymer kind of rubber handle. I don't know, just like it. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they increased the length of the handle. They did. See that? I hate short, stubby handles on my survival knives. They batter my hand. That's why I don't like them. But this one, on this next generation, Schrade increased it. Went to G10. The blade profile is pretty much the same. Same length. Everything's very similar, actually. And heck, you might buy this for even less. I wouldn't say I would totally discount this one. If you have smaller sized hands, you could totally make it work. Hunting blade, I wouldn't say so, because it's just thick. You know, can you skin with it? Yeah, you can skin with any blade. We've talked about that a lot. Of course you can. And that's about it. It's too inexpensive, too non-special for any second kind of cool. Says me, it's a working blade. Both of these are. Let's take a look at the handle on this one, the latest generation. There is a very sharp transition around the whole circumference of the blade, and I don't like it. But it's easy enough, although it'll be about an hour-long project, for you to radius it with a Dremel. I've done that on several knives before. Works great. Lanyard hole back here. Does have the loop or the bend over tang, which I don't like. It batters my pinky. So sometimes, and I can't remember how I was doing it with this one, I may have been hitting it like that. And I kind of trying to remember what gloves I had on at the time. I think they're either mechanics or pig gloves. Can't remember. But I didn't remember this really battering me in our cutting test. It worked okay. Allen head construction, so you can take it apart. In hand, it actually feels pretty heavy. It really does. It feels substantial. And even though it's not a huge blade, it chopped pretty good for its size. You know, you're not going to have the velocity of the longer blades like we've seen before in TMP, like for years. But still, works good. There's the model number on that one right there. That dirt on it looks cool, by the way. I like that a lot. Grind look, once again. We talked about, not FFG. Strong tip, and check out the tip after stabbing tests in the dirt. One reason I was doing that, it wasn't just gratuitous, is I wanted to check out the formulation of Schrade's 1095, their interpretation of it. I wanted to see if it would bend, if it would chip out. And from what I can tell, and looking at the edge now after cutting tests, which were substantial in our testing, it's dull. I'm not going to lie to you, it's dull, but it was jammed into dirt and gravel and a lot of wood cutting, but it seems like it's a tough steel. And so if there would have been a failure like in my knife graveyard failure testing that I do every once in a while, just for kicks, you know, it didn't reveal any flaws. So 1095 is a great steel. The spring steels are good too. I like those, but 1095 kind of rises to the top for me. How about the sheath? How about it's a price point sheath? But that being said, they do have some things right on it that I really like. Can you tell what they are if you've watched my survival knife reviews over the years? If you said the fabric on it is upgraded, you'd be very astute. It is a really high quality ballistic nylon that Schrade is using on this. I'm no doubt this is put together in China, the whole knife. If it's not China, it's Taiwan. I didn't really look at the box. For that cost, it's going to be over. Yeah, here it is. Made in China. There. It has to be, man, because it's, you know, it's just, you put in the States, the cost goes way up. You guys know that. So the ballistic nylon is excellent, and what I was getting at is that it's not a Velcro retention tab on it, which is super excellent. It does have a plastic insert there. Let's see how it fits, and the friction on it. That's another thing they get right. So a lot of brands we bring to the table, and they're very loose, Ontario included. And why is that important? Because you can shake the knife out and your hand's in the way, and as the blade falls, a very heavy blade, and it gains momentum, maybe you're right there and you get a nice big slice out in the wilderness, right where you don't want to have it. So 3 great things they did on the sheath. Ballistic, this is a snap, not Velcro, and that apparently the plastic insert is sized perfectly. Perfectly. By the way, the watch is a Pro Trek for the review tonight in OD. Go look at my review on that. I'll put the link to this particular one down below if you're interested. That's one of the watches. Check this out. So this is what I'm talking about. Tops, Velcro. That's pretty much unforgivable, especially for a large knife. Weeds, seeds, snow, ice gets there. This is worthless. It's always been bad. I can't believe people are still putting it on there. But they do. So the downside is it's nothing special. It's not, you know, Kydex or plastic or any of the higher tech plastics like cold steel uses, Conceal-X or whatnot. But it works, and it's lightweight. It doesn't have a lot of weight. It won't absorb water. There's a sharpening stone, I think, and a fire steel that comes with it. Yeah, fire steel for a $46 knife. I didn't test these at all. And if it was me, I would probably take all of this out of the kit and lighten it up, because I carry my own fire kit all the time. Let's check this out, though. I didn't even strike it once. I'm looking at this because I can always detect that it needs to have a nice sharp edge for it to work. There it goes. Dude. Yeah, that's working good. Maybe I would keep that in there. That's a good, decent fire steel. Seriously. And then you got like a diamond sharpener in here, too. This is actually pretty lightweight, though, because what they did is it's just a thin metal portion and it's a plastic backing. Yeah, maybe I would keep that in there. That's pretty cool. But we were concentrating on the blade test, not really any of the accoutrements. Elasticized pouch there. So that's cool. I like that. Here's a retention. It's just a simple belt loop. Oh, there's some Velcro. I don't really mind it back here because this is not something I'm always taking off. And it loops over, so this Velcro is almost secondary in keeping this closed. The more I look at the sheath, actually, the more I like it, really. The handle on this one, much better than this one. Although it does have the sharper transitions, it is short, very short. Look at that. 7-inch blade on that one. And they may have a 5-inch blade version of it, I forget. But for 46 bucks, even 50 bucks, these knives are incredible, dudes. Incredible. And that's why I wanted to do a tabletop review on them, because it's a great, and I forgot to say this in philosophy of use, it's a great survival kit knife. And really pay attention to this, you can take the weight, because you're adding a pound and a half by integrating these large bladed survival knives. Excuse me. And you might really want to ask if that's needed. In some philosophies, I think something like a cold steel roach belly would make a lot more sense. Where, I mean, you still can split firewood with this thing. You can baton with it to a certain degree. I mean, I showed a video of southeastern fire making with the roach belly, and it worked. I wouldn't say it's awesome, but it worked. And it doesn't weigh anything. And they're super affordable, too. That's just one super quick option. What do I have on the table here? I don't have any other mid-size because I got too much other stuff I'm reviewing. I'll end with this, so highly recommended. The handle's long enough. On the next generation of the model, this one, SCHF52. And actually, for $40 or $50, that's a good looking coloration on that handle. I forgot to tell you that. And a transitioning ramp with no meaningful jimping. Thick blade. And 1095 steel, a favorite of mine. Done.